This video is going to be a short, casual test comparing the stock GeForce GTX 480 to the Zotac Amp Edition GeForce GTX 480 to a GeForce GTX 480 with the GELID Icy Vision. So you can see these two coolers are quite similar, both triple slot coolers, whereas the stock cooler is a dual slot cooler that blows the exhaust out the back of the case. Both of these are going to exhaust air into the case. So while this isn't a perfect test, because I am using an open test bench as opposed to a closed case where these two would be at a disadvantage, it's still going to give us a little bit of an idea. So you can see I am running Furmark in extreme burn mode. Right now I am running at 87 degrees Celsius. So I've got Msi Afterburner running in the background there. 87 degrees Celsius, fan speed is 79%, so I'm going to let you listen to the fan. It's quite loud, a little bit on the obnoxious side. My room temperature is 27 degrees Celsius right now, so at 27, we're going to take that to be a 60 degree delta. So delta means the difference between the ambient temperature and the temperature of the GPU, and that's at 100% load at 79% fan speed. So next we're going to run the Amp Edition, and then we're going to run the Icy Vision and see how they compare in terms of noise and in terms of the delta. Oh, I should probably mention the overclock I'm running at. Right, Afterburner, I'm running at 1.075 volts, and then I'm running at 850 and 2200 on the core and memory respectively. Fan speed is set to auto at all times. Well, here's the Zotac Amp Edition. I have to say right off the bat, I'm very, very impressed because we're running at the same overclock here. Okay, so you can see here all of the settings are the same. We're running the same burn test, and we are hitting a maximum of 72 degrees on the GPU. But that's not really the interesting part because that's not a whole lot lower. Our room temperature right now is 26, so oh, it's gonna make me do math. So that's about 46, I hope. 26, 72, whatever. I'm gonna guess 46 and then I'll double check my math later. So it's a 46 degree delta at, here's the kicker, 47% fan speed. So 47%. So let's say we go ahead and kick the fan speed up. I'm sure we can achieve dramatically better temperatures. Like let's put this fan up around 80%, which is where the other one was. And I bet even at 80%, it won't be nearly as loud. Oh, actually, hold on. No, wait. We gotta go back to auto. Okay, so we're back to 45%. Okay, so I'll let you listen to the fan. Basically, you can't even hear it. It's super quiet. So if we go and ramp it up to a fan speed that's more like what the other one was at, which even at 80% is still not nearly as loud as the stock cooler at 80%. Then I think we're going to see really, really low GPU temperatures. So I'll come back once that stabilizes. You can see my room's heating up a little bit now. We're at about 30 degrees in the room, but so even more impressively than it would be if we were still at the same temperature, we're seeing 64 degrees on the GPU. That's very consistent. So that's at 80% fan speed. We're not even going as fast as we possibly could. So that's only a 34 degree delta at 80% on the Zotac Amp Edition card. So that's very, very impressive running at the same overclock setting. So what that means is you can either have more overclocking headroom on an Amp Edition card, so you can turn your GPU voltages up higher, or it means you can run at the same settings you could on a stock card, but you can do it very, very quietly. Now there is the disadvantage that you can't install as many expansion cards in your system, because you can see it's quite a bit thicker than a regular card, so it takes up one extra slot. But you could still put an additional video card right here, and you can still run SLI. Even in this motherboard, which is just a P55 board, it just has the right spacing. As long as you got 3 slot spacing, you can even run SLI with 2 Amp Edition cards. Well, the Icy Vision's temperatures and fan speeds have finally stabilized a little bit. I'm not I mean, okay, if I was upgrading from the stock cooler, I'd be absolutely thrilled with the results, but based on the fact that I'm running this compared to the Zotac Amp Edition card, I'm not quite as impressed. We stabilize around 80 degrees on the GPU. Let's see if I can get that to focus. And at about 57% on the fan speed, but it's the fan noise that's kind of bothering me here, because even at lower fan speed, I find it has a bit of a pulsating sound to it. When it's in a closed case, it's probably not going to bother you, but it's one of the things that I do notice when it's on the test bench. So here, I'll just let you listen to it. Not sure if you can hear that or not, but anyway, so 80 degrees, and my room is actually a little bit cooler now. Whoops. Oh, that's bad. I'm trying to turn on my my thermometer here, and I went and moved my probe. I'm trying to keep it in front of the fan intake without jamming up the fan, which is what I just managed to do. There we go. So basically I want the temperature of the air that's going into the fan. So 80 degrees minus about, okay, looks like it's about 27 degrees in here. So that's a delta of 53. So that's a little bit worse. So 53 degrees at 58% on the fan. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it up to sort of a more comparable 80%, and then we'll see what it settles on in terms of temperatures. Well, very interesting. That appears to be as high as the fan speed on the Icy Vision goes. So you can see I've turned it up even to 100% now. It sounds exactly the same, and it's cooling exactly the same. The room's about a degree warmer now, and it's at 82 degrees, so that's all sort of well within margin of error. So it looks like that's as fast as the fans on the Icy Vision run. I mean, it has the advantage of being compatible with a lot of different GPUs, but I'd say overall on the GTX 480, if you're looking at an option of either buying a stock card and then throwing an Icy Vision on it versus just buying an Amp Edition card in the first place, it comes to about the same price. So I think the recommendation at this point should be fairly clear. I just want to explain these results a little bit better. So remember, this is not the temperature of the GPU, this is the delta. So that means that's the difference in temperature between room temp and the temperature of your graphics card. So a delta of 60 degrees means that if your room was 40 degrees, your GPU would be 100 degrees. If the delta is 34, it means that if your room is 34 degrees, for example, sort of a more realistic room temperature, although quite warm, even in the summer, 34 degrees, then your GPU would be at 78 degrees. Or if it was at 40, it would be at 84 degrees. So you see what I mean there? So this is a delta, this is not an absolute temperature. So these two are for the amp. This is for stock. And this is for the Icy Vision. Okay? Hopefully that's all pretty self-explanatory.